In 1932, Technicolor developed Process 4, or 3-strip Technicolor, which would allow for a full range of color by simultaneously exposing 3 strips of film, which each recorded a different additive primary color: red, green, or blue. These 3 strips would then be combined to produce the final image. It was an extremely complicated and involved, not to mention expensive process that was essentially impossible for live action at the time, and would really only work in animation. In fact, it was so cumbersome and expensive that no other animation studio wanted it, except of course, the Disney studio. Well, Walt wanted it. His brother Roy, who ran the business and financial side of the studio, vehemently disagreed. Producing cartoons in 3-strip Technicolor would be over 3 times more expensive, with no obvious way to recoup the costs. As United Artists, their current distributor, had no contractual obligation to pay more for color cartoons. The Disney studio would have to eat the cost and hope the cartoons were popular enough to cover it, which seemed unlikely. However, Walt believed that color would make the cartoons popular enough that they would pay off, and negotiated with Technicolor for a 2-year exclusive rights agreement so other studios couldn't use the technology.
Roy says color is going to cost us a lot of money that we'll never get back. So if we take a chance on it, you've got to assure us that every other cartoon producer isn't going to rush into the theaters with Technicolor.
Walt Disney. Technicolor agreed to Walt's terms, and this caused Roy to relent and agree to produce the next Silly Symphony in color. That cartoon was Flowers and Trees, which was already half done. While the animation itself didn't need to be redone, the inking and painting, as well as the backgrounds, need to be scrapped and redone in color. Inking and painting is the process of transferring animated characters from paper to transparent celluloid sheets called animation cells. This allows the characters to be animated over a background without the need to redraw the background for every frame. I'll explain the entire process of inking and painting, as well as animation itself, in much greater detail a bit later. Normal paint wouldn't work for animation, as it would chip and wouldn't stick to the cells. Walt and his team, therefore, had to develop entirely new paints to use for Flowers and Trees. Flowers and Trees was released on July 30th, 1932, and was an enormous commercial and critical success.
I was right, everything I say is right.
The cartoon went on to win the first ever Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film, or Best Short Subject Cartoons as the award was then called. Coincidentally, Walt Disney Silly Symphonies would win every Academy Award in this category throughout the entire 1930s. With the success of Flowers and Trees, Walt decided that all Silly Symphonies going forward would be produced in color.